Hello everybody, welcome to Totally Tabled. My name is Shaggy, and today I'm playing Pasteles. Pasteles is a solo-only pastry-making, contract-fulfillment board game that uses a puzzly cloth-folding mechanism. It's very hard to explain, you're best off just seeing it in action. Now I went ahead and I got everything set up for the game. I'm playing Scenario 1, or Recipe 1, which is recommended for your first game. My prototype copy of the recipe book contains 12 recipes, along with 3 others that are on loose sheets. For information on exactly what will be in the final game, I recommend checking out their GameFound campaign page. I'll provide a link in the description below. For setup, I've simply shuffled the customer, equipment, and employee decks. I then dealt out 3 employee cards into a supply. I placed the market token on the leftmost space on the storage board, and I placed the round marker on day 1. As you can see in this scenario, we're only playing 4 days. Lastly, I need to receive the items that are here in the weekly prep. So we're going to be starting with 10 money. I'll be using my iron clay poker chips instead of the cardboard money. I then get to place these tiles into storage. So we have 2 strawberries, 1 blueberry, and one of these 2 pieces. There we go, we're ready to begin. Believe it or not, Pasteles is a sequel to Conservas, at least story-wise. You've decided to leave life on the high seas behind in order to take over the old family pastry shop. In Scenario 1, it's our first week of running the shop, and so we're still using very simple pastry recipes. The customers are already lining up outside the window, and so we're just gonna have to learn on the job. In order to win the game, we need to earn $50 by the end of the week. Well, that's a standard victory. If we want a gourmet victory, we need 70. Believe me, there's no danger of that happening. So the first thing we need to do is we need to look here, and that's going to show us whether we are gaining employees or sometimes even losing employees. In this case, it shows that we're going to be gaining 2 employees. So we get to pick from the employees that are in the supply, or we can draw one off the top of the deck. At the top right of the card, it shows their wage, their costs that we're going to have to pay at the end of the round. Then at the bottom, it shows a special ability and a tile that we get to add to our supply. I like Isabel's special ability of being able to put leftover tiles back into our storage. Usually those are lost at the end of the round, so let's take her. And she's going to give us one of these 3 pieces, and we can just put that off to the side. We can then immediately draw another one. And now we can pick from them. I also like Margot's special abilities, so I think I'm going to take her. She's going to make it a little less punishing if we don't fulfill all of the customers. And you can see there we're getting a strawberry and a 2-piece. And then you can look down here, it shows that little gear with the wrench symbol. That means that we get an equipment card. This card is technically an equipment breakdown card. It's a little strange, but for now we can ignore that card. That's not going to affect us as we're playing. That'll be something for the end of the round, so I'll explain that card when we get there. We now have the option of increasing our market level. The number below the token is how many customer cards we're going to draw. We don't want too many customers coming because if we don't fulfill all their orders, then that's bad for us. We also don't want too few because we need to make that money. I think I'm going to be a little bit conservative and just increase it 1 level. So that will just cost me $1. If I wanted to, I could spend another $1 to move it 1 more time. You can move it as high as you want. Okay, great. Now we can add these pieces into our supply here. These are sort of like the ingredients that we're going to be working with, but it's not that simple. Okay, so we're getting 5 customers today. We're going to make a face down pile. And then we're going to draw 3 of them out. So you can see on the right hand of these customer cards at the top, that's sort of what they're desiring. And those symbols represent flavors. There's actually 5 different icons. You're only seeing 3 of them there. You can see these hoops represent sweet. The swirls represent tart. The lines there represent savory. And then there's also spicy and salty. And you might be a little confused because those symbols are not on these pieces. Well, no, instead, they're on these cloth sheets here. So what we do is we take a random one of those, and down here on the recipe, it's showing us how we're going to fold these. We're going to have to fold these to essentially create the board that we're going to be working with. So we're going to start here on this left one, and it says fold new. So that means we need to take a new cloth. There's 3 of them in the box, and we want to take it randomly so we don't know which cloth we're getting. They're slightly different. It's showing that we have to fold it in a 2x2 square, and we can fold it however we want, but it has to end up in a 2x2 square. And it shows a little time icon there. That means that we only have 30 seconds to do it. Now, the rulebook is very clear that if you want more time, take 45 seconds, take a minute, especially when you're first starting out. And you know what? If you just hate the idea of it being timed, you can just ignore that completely. It's really not that big of a deal. It's not that important to the game. I think of it as being a little bit more thematic because, we're trying to fulfill these orders. We need to be quick. We don't have all day to make these pastries. So I'm going to try to stick to 30 seconds. I'm not sure I'll be able to talk during this, but, I'm kind of looking to have those symbols appear. That's sort of the idea. So let's go see what we could do. So I see those 2 symbols there and maybe there. They're kind of all spread out, so I'm just going to see what I can do. Ooh, there we go. Okay, hold on. Okay, my bad folding really came into play there. You saw it, though. I had it. This just slipped out. Okay. Okay. There we go. That's what I was trying to make. All right, there we go. We're not judged on how pretty our folding is, so that's a good thing. I'm bad at wrapping presents also, so this is really outside of my abilities. But now we have this board to play with, and that's where these come in. We're going to be covering these with our pieces in order to deliver them to the customers. So for example, I could use this double piece, put it right there, and that's both of those icons to serve to that customer. So I could then take them, and at the bottom here it shows our reward. We can either take 3 money, or we can take those tiles and place it in our storage. We don't get them this round, we'll get them next round. Instead of doing that, I could do this. 1, 2, and now I've got everything for her. That'd be a choice between $9 or these tiles. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to take the money. So we'll take a 10 and put 1 back. And then she gets discarded. And then a new person comes out. Now, at any point we want, we can move on to the next pastry. We can see here, the next pastry here, it says fold new, which means we're going to be taking a new one of these cloths out. It's the same thing. We have that 30-second timer, but this time we're going to be folding a 2x3. Now, in some of these recipes, you'll refold the same sheet. You'll keep the tiles on there and then sort of do additional folds. In this case, we're getting a new cloth to fold. Okay, this is a little nerve-wracking. Gonna pull a random one out. And let's go. Okay. I think that will do pretty nicely. Okay, yep, we're good. With time to spare. Now I want to tell you about this special piece right here, because these two are not the same. You can see here we just have one strawberry, so if we put this on, that's just doing one of those symbols to put out. But this has 3 blueberries on it. So when we cover up, say, that spot right there, that's not giving us one of these tarts, that's giving us 3. And we can use that across multiple customers. So I could do that to do 1, 2, and then 3, and then I could cover this to get that one. Or alternatively, I could maybe want to use this piece. So that'd give me 1 of each. So that takes care of them, and it gives 1 to them. But then you see, they need 2, and we only have 1 of these. So that's not going to work. We can't do them because we didn't get a red. So we're going to have to try to do that on the next one. So I think we will go here, maybe. And then we'll just have to use 2 of these to go like that. Oh no, we have to use all 3. Because here's the deal. Like, we could do something like this, right? We got those 3 tarts, and then we just do that. And now we've completed them. But we can't draw another customer, because if we do, we would lose these leftover tarts that we covered. And the same thing is true if you try to fold another pastry. Any covered symbols that you haven't used are immediately lost. So we need to do this. And actually, I think I'll do that. That will cover us for both of these. And then we can draw a new one and do another pastry. So for this one, that's 8 money. I think I'm gonna take the big money. Problem is we are gonna need some tiles. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna take the tiles, I guess. So that'd be 1 of those. 1 of those and 1 of those. And then I'll also take the tiles here. So another 1 of those and that. So this is all we have left. Okay, so we're only going to be able to take care of 1 of them, not both. This should hopefully be easy. We just need to match 1 of those. And go. Well, here it is right here. Again, it doesn't have to be in the exact order. So I think we'll just do that. I forgot to mention this time we're trying to do a 2x4. So we can stop that. And we can use this, bam, to serve them. And I think I'll take the $7. So that's a pretty good haul. So we didn't serve everyone, but we got pretty close. Normally, for each customer you don't serve, you have to move the market token back 1. But that's why I got Margot. She basically lets us ignore the first customer that we don't serve. So we can ignore them and we don't have to move back. So now what we do is we just take all of our customers, even the ones we didn't serve, we shuffle them up, and we put them at the bottom of the deck. We now need to pay our wages, so we owe $6 in total. And now we get to reduce our risk of equipment failure. And so that's going to deal with our freezer card. In the equipment deck, there's 2 of each card. And so if you ever draw 2 of the same card, that piece of equipment breaks. And then you have to resolve what's at the bottom of the card here. In the case of the freezer, it would force us to remove some of our tiles from storage. So rather than risk it, if we want, at this point in the game, we can actually pay the money here that's shown. So in this case, $2. And we'll get to do a little positive special ability and then discard the card. And I think we will do that. So we'll spend 2. And this is going to let us flip a customer card and then gain 1 of the tokens that's shown on the card. Well, so we could take a 2 or a 3. We already have 2 3s, so I think we'll take a 2. It covers less space, but it gives us a little bit more versatility. We can't even use these 3s or this 4 on our first pastry, so it's good to have some smaller ones as well. Then we just put them at the bottom of the deck. And then we can just discard this card. If we draw another freezer in a future day, then it won't hurt us. So there we go. That's the end of the day. We just put all of these that we've used back into the supply. We take these and we throw them back into the box, sort of mixed up. Now, normally if you had extra tiles, they would also go back to the supply. Isabel would let us take up to 2 of those tiles that were left over and put them into our storage, but we used all of our tiles, so it's not going to help us this round. We move on to day 2. We're going to look down here. We're not gaining or losing any employees, but we are gaining another piece of equipment. If at this point those 2 cards matched, then we'd have to resolve the broken effect that's at the bottom of the card. We're now going to get our tiles from our employees and from the supply. So we're getting another 3 from Isabel and a 1 and a 2, as well as the stuff here. So we have a lot of big pieces. I think it's probably worthwhile to spend 1 to get us up to 6. We could maybe even go up to 7 because of Margot. But maybe we'll stay at 6. That'll be fine. I should note we started with 10 money and now we have 16. So we made $7 in the first day. That means we need to average 11 in these next 3 days in order to get to that 50. I just spent 1. We have $6 in wages that we have to pay. So that's 7 right there. It'll be 2 if we want to spend it on the dishwasher. So that's 9. We want to try to make $20. That'd be kind of an ideal number. So let's take our 6 customers. Bring out 3. And that's it. We're going to go through these recipe steps again, doing the exact same thing that we did. We're going to do those for 4 days. And if we have $50 or more at the end of that, then we win. Let's take a look at a few more of the scenarios or recipes. So for this one, you can see it's very interesting. For this recipe, the folding is very different than the first. You're going to take one of these cloths and you're going to pick a side. And then you're only going to get to be able to place in this middle 3x3 grid. So, you know, we might place some things out. And then when you're done with that, the second fold is you're going to pick two opposite sides and just fold them over. And now you have this 3x5 grid to make. So you could go, you know, add some more things. Pretty crazy. This piece would be hard to fit in. Ooh, like, nope, almost. This is some of the fun stuff that they do with the folding. Here's one a lot like the first one, but a little bit bigger, and your score has to be a little higher. This one's cool. You're starting with a 3x5. Okay, so you're going to orient it like this, and then you're going to get the other two. You're going to make them into 1x1 or 1x5. So each one's going to be a 1x5, which is not the easiest thing to do. There we go, like that. And then you're going to put one on one side. And then you're going to put the other one on the other side. So that should give you a little bit of a taste of how they're using this folding system to really bring out the theme of pastry making. It's really quite clever, and I find the puzzle here very tricky. There's kind of two layers to the puzzle because, you know, you got to figure out this, and then you also have to figure out how to best use your tiles. It's tricky to know like how many customers you're going to want for each day. It's hard to know when to take the money and when to take the tiles. It's just a very tricky puzzle. If this looks interesting to you, then you can check out their Game Found campaign. Again, a link is in the description below. I'd like to thank all the financial supporters of Totally Tabled, including the Totally Radical Hextra, John Kohler, Scott Myers, Kevin Qualls, and Jay Satterwhite, as well as the Totally Bodacious Narciso Jaramillo. If you're interested in becoming a member, you can join on YouTube or my Patreon at www.patreon.com/totallytabled. You'll gain access to my new exclusive podcast, Table Talk, as well as unboxing videos and whatever extra stuff I come up with. As always, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.